Hey everyone, welcome to The Loop, episode 1. I am your host, Joe Dunbar. With me is my co-host, Louis Robinson. Louis, how are you doing today, man?
I am fantastic. Cheers, buddy. Good to see you again, mate. As always, from across the pond.
Likewise. You look just as good now as you did in person. So, I don't know what camera you guys are using, but it's doing the trick. We talked about getting this podcast together for a little while. We came up with a name, which we're going to tell the people about a little bit, just a little background for the folks. What we wanted to really do with this is get something together that was helpful and informational for our system integration partners, right? And that's what we were kind of looking to do. We're brainstorming ideas of what this could look like and what it might be and what it's called. And now this is kind of the first iteration of it. I'm sure it will grow, but The Loop is the name. Louis, we were brainstorming and you threw this one out. Tell us a little bit about how you came up with this name and why it's relevant for the folks, and then we'll talk a little bit about kind of what it's for and ourselves and why we're here.
Yeah, so like we said before, mate, me and you were catching up, weren't we? We were starting to work together and get to know each other, and we were finding that a lot of the stuff we do in our day-to-day is quite similar, right? And a lot of the questions we're getting asked are quite similar. And we obviously got together over at Infocom, which was great. It was my first Infocom. It was my first time in Vegas. It was the first time me and you got to work together with each other in person, which was great. Oh. And we said one day we sat down and we just went, right, we got to hash this out. We got to put something together and we got to make it easy for people that we work with, right? And there's a lot of stuff that we found while we were together that you do your side of the pond and we do our side of the pond differently and vice versa and things like that. But all in all, the questions that we get are relatively the same. So we thought, Why don't we come together and we can share our knowledge that we've gathered from our vendors, from our industry time, and we can help the people that we support in a bite-sized format, right? And we came up with a loop because conveniently there was a mode of transport that could get us around. So we're not nicking any trademarks there, but it was nice to give it a name that just says to people, right, what are we doing here, right? And we literally are keeping you in the loop as it goes.
I love it, man. It worked out so well, and it just was so fitting that it was like, all right, this is coming together. This is it. And to your point, right, we get a lot of the same questions or similar questions anyway. So we're trying to give folks, like you said, bite-sized information, chunks of things that we see on the day-to-day that instead of having to reach out to somebody once it becomes a problem for you, if you're listening to us, then hopefully you're going to get some of this information before it becomes a problem and it can kind of prepare you. Or if it's something you've run into, hopefully we can give you an answer to a problem you've seen before. So the idea is relatively short and kind of brief episodes. What we're talking about bi-weekly, right? So we're going to do an every other week release for the folks, and I'm sure we'll get some special episodes in here. Louis, you're talking a little bit, and this was kind of my favorite part. We discovered that we really do the same thing. I don't know if our job titles are the same, but we serve the same function within the organizations, right? So why don't you introduce yourself a little bit and tell the folks why is Louis qualified to even give advice on anything in the first place? Because I'm wondering myself,
That's a bold question. You saw me step off the plane and went, why this dude?
Why, who is this guy?
What are we doing here? Yeah. Like the guy that has long hair needs to have a shave. Come on, what are we doing here?
Who's this guy?
So like over here in the UK, right, I work for Midwich and I'm part of the UC&C team here. And my day-to-day role is to be at the beck and call of all of the partners that Midwich work with and just to help them design solutions. Now, initially, we focus on the UC&C arm of the business, but Midwich, huge across AV, right? So there's every part of what you could possibly imagine within, let's say, a workspace at the moment, just to easy narrow it down, that we get involved with. So outside of the brands that I specifically look after, I still sit here and help people design the connectivity piece. I help introduce people to the LED part of our business, the display arms of our business, the projection arms of our business, all of those aspects that I help people design their projects or help from a consultative level, just to bring together the right design for the jobs that end users are trying to do. And I think that's where I get the similar questions coming up time and time again, because typically the projects that we're doing, we find people come to us from a level of, look, I don't really know what I can do here to make this dream happen for an end user. You've got all of the manufacturers at your disposal. So can you bring them all together? And the questions are kind of similar. How do we connect two devices? Or how do we check what, let's say, firmware's working down the chain of all the different elements of vendor products that needs to be brought together to make sure things work? what can I be doing before going to site? Because I don't want to learn at site. I need to do this checklist. So how can we do that prior to it? And on that, I get loads of people that come in contact with us and they say, look, I wish I'd have rung you 2 weeks ago, because if I'd have rung you 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't be on site now telling a customer there's another visit that has to come up because actually a checklist we didn't go through before because I didn't give Louis a call or didn't give the team a call over here. So hopefully we can start putting that together now, and people can look at the podcast and see an episode and say, right, look, I'm going to be deploying a Teams room somewhere and I'm going to be using a certain manufacturer's kit. If there's a podcast episode that tells me what I should be looking for, conversations I should be having before going to site, things I should be doing with the design, well, hopefully me and you can help reduce a day of travel somewhere maybe, or just give someone the extra bit of confidence to go, that's a market that I've not really played in yet. So maybe I should start looking at that, because usually I go to Midwich for displays as opposed to Teams rooms, or I go for projection instead of LED and things like that. So hopefully bringing all that together, mate. And that's why we're doing it together, right?
I love it. That's why we're bringing people into the loop.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna flip it back on yourself then.
I'm going to take every opportunity I can, Louis, to work that into the conversation. So people will for sure be annoyed by me trying to be funny and punny about it the whole way. And I appreciate the insight, man. It's you know, as we've talked a little bit, it's very similar over here on this side of the pond. So I work on our design and services team, you know, here in Starin in North America with the Midwich group. And another thing I think that's really important for folks to understand when they're getting to listen to us and watch us is kind of the layout and how things work with Midwich and the Midwich group. Because you work for Midwich, the distributor in the UK. We've got the Midwich group, who you know, is the parent company for Starin and all of these partners across the globe. And so there's a big reach. There's a lot of brands and a lot of partners that, you know, maybe I don't work with every day, but you do work with, or vice versa. So that's really important for us to get to touch on. My day-to-day is very much similar to yours. It's a lot of design and consultation type things. You were talking about giving people some insight so that they can save some trips and get a jump start on their projects. And over here, we call those gotchas. Our partners really want to know, like, okay, this product is cool and I see the marketing material and I sort of understand what it does, but like, what are the gotchas? What are the things I need to know about this product or this solution or this brand to sell it successfully, to help deploy it successfully, to make sure my partners and my end users are going to like the product and that's the right thing for them. So I spend a lot of time. You work on the UC&C team. It's a different team for us here, but we spend a lot of our time. The day-to-day is very much about like conference rooms, boardrooms, classrooms, auditoriums, and things like that. And I would say, you know, about 30% of the business maybe then breaks out into more traditional AV, and it might be like a music venue or club or something like that. It might be a hospitality, like a hotel, digital signage deployments, certainly direct VLED and projection mapping. I really love getting into those projects. So we do the whole range of it, but there's a lot of, you know, what we would say is meat and potato stuff. And that's a lot of conference rooms and boardrooms and commercial AV kind of, you know, corporate AV stuff that we do a lot of. So a lot of overlap, and we really want to help everybody out with that. And again, the structure of the Midwich group is so important. So hopefully we can help everybody understand that.
That's a massive piece too, as well, right? And I don't want to dive into it too much in this episode. This is just getting the loop off of the ground, right? But something we see in the UK is Midwich is a beast, right? There is a huge organization to be working with, and it is quite difficult for some partners to navigate that. So if we can help too with this to help navigate how people go through the business and what areas they could be looking at, or some group companies they might not have been aware of, but they can now get introduced to, and they can work within different regions around the world.
And that, honestly, it's okay for us to say this, even for internal people. It's a big organization, and there's people on our end who say, oh, I know we can help with this, but I'm not sure where to start. We really want to give folks insight to that, you know, internally, externally, and otherwise. So I think that's a great point. I don't want to get too much into the weeds on some of this stuff right now. The whole point of this is just to get us off the ground, like you said, and kind of going, introduce to us and kind of what the plan is going forward. So this is going to be episode number 1 for us, down and dirty, quick and brief, Louis. And then I know we're going to try and get an episode 2 out with it at the same time. So there's a little bit of content. And then from that point, we're going to be going bi-weekly for the foreseeable future. I'm really excited about it. Louis, where can the people find you, my friend? You're online. Where are you online? Where are you on the internet? We know we can find you out there. I've seen you.
LinkedIn, Instagram, the Midwich YouTube. So I'm learning the social game, right? I'm early doors on the social game here.
Social media is brand new, so it's totally fine that you're just getting.
Yeah. I'm on the train. I'm starting the train. It's not a moving train, right?
Hey.
Yeah, this is a new thing out here. So
It's your
yeah,
journey.
I'm getting to grips with the socials, but LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, hit me up.
Okay.
I'm over there. Where are you hiding, Joe?
LinkedIn primarily, and I know this content I think is going to be found in a couple of different places. So Midwich YouTube, Starin YouTubes, Midwich Group YouTubes, Apple, Spotify. We're really looking to put it on all the places so you can find it easily. So, Louis, I think that's the one right there, buddy. We're going to wrap this one up and take folks on to episode 2. So thanks so much for joining me. I know it's a little later over where you are, so folks, stick around, hit the next episode, and make sure to subscribe and like for more information, and drop stuff in the comments. Let us know what you want to see. Louis, thanks so much.
And that's one thing I will say, actually, before we drop out. I would say it's mega important. The more engagement we get with these podcasts from comments, the better. If you've got topics you want us to cover, if you've got some gotchas, here we are, that come up regularly for you that you think other people might benefit from us having a chat about it, definitely leave us a comment. Let us know what we should be doing the episodes, because the more we can do that's led by you, the better, because then we know we're giving you the value that you've come here for, right?
That's it. Louis, thanks so much for joining me, buddy. I will see you on the next one.
Cheers, Joe. Appreciate it, mate.